I'm less stressed, I'm more present, I have more patience with him, and the list just goes on. I'm just a better mom, and he deserves that.
Welcome to Ridiculously Blessed, the podcast about those of us who've had some success, but we know that we're ridiculously blessed. Welcome to Ridiculously Blessed, a podcast where we talk to those who are ridiculously blessed. We know that success comes not only from hard work, but also from a blessing. So tonight's guest comes to us from the West Coast. Beautiful, beautiful California. Krista Samimi. How are you today, Krista?
I'm doing great. Thank you. How are you, Tim?
Doing great, doing great. So, Krista, tell us a little bit about you.
Well, I'm over here on the Best Coast, California. And I live with my husband, David, and my son, Jacob, who is 4 years old. We live here in Northern California. And I love to go to yoga, take care of my mind and body that way. And I'm very enthusiastic about mental health and wellness.
So, Krista, today I wanted to have you on just to talk a little bit about the gut brain axis and kind of how mental health and eating habits kind of go in together. As Built for This is a program that we talk about habits and routines. So I thought, what better person to talk to than someone who knows the combination between the mindset and the gut?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I just stumbled across this science a couple of years ago, and it's really fascinating because our gut is our second brain. So that may sound really strange to you, but how our gut functions really affects us. So what we eat, our stress levels, if we've taken antibiotics in the past, all of those things can affect our gut, and we might feel lethargic, not a lot of energy. Our stress levels could be out of control, and we don't really know how to feel calm or feel relaxed. And so the second gut, or sorry, the second brain in the gut is really important to have good gut health because it's going to affect how your mental health is as well.
What helped you discover, this combination of the gut and brain axis?
Yeah, so I have been on my own mental health journey for almost 20 years, and it really just came to a point where what my doctors were saying and mainstream Western medicine was saying, I was so tired of taking prescriptions. I'd have side effects, and I just knew that there's a better way to take care of myself. And I was so blessed when I found the science of the gut brain access through a friend who introduced it to me. And ever since then, 2 years ago, I still take a little bit of prescription medication, but I've been optimizing my gut brain access with nutritional supplements. I do meditation, I do mindfulness, I watch what I eat and focus on a mental wellness diet. And it really just changed the game in regards to my mental health.
Now, what was the first thing that you noticed changed?
When I first started on the gut brain access supplements for mental wellness, the first thing that changed is that I woke up and my mind was more clear. Typically, I would need to have, a couple cups of coffee to get me going and to really clear my mind out. And so I call it brain fog. So within just a few days of being on the gut brain access protocol, the brain fog went away. And I was really amazed. It's almost like um, putting glasses on for the first time, and you're like, oh, well, the world's not supposed to be blurry. Like I was so used to living with the brain fog that I thought it was normal. So that was the first thing that I noticed.
Also, we talked a little bit earlier about your background. Can you give us a little bit about your background with, the medical industry and kind of what your belief system was at the time?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I spent 11 years working for a pharmaceutical company. I did pharmaceutical sales. And so I was very accustomed to medication, and very much my mindset was that's what I needed to treat my mental health. And then I stayed in healthcare. I worked for a company called Sutter Care or Sutter Health, and I still had that mindset of, Western medicine, that this was the way to treat my mental health. But like I said, when I became burnt out and I wanted root cause solutions was what it was. I just something was not sitting with me, that what I was taking was not root cause. And the gut brain access protocol spoke to me in that it's healing the gut. The gut actually produces 80 to 90% of our feel good neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin. So they're made in the gut, not in the brain. And those transmitters travel from the gut to the brain via the vagus nerve or the axis. And so this science made so much sense that it was root cause. And that's really what drew me to it.
Tell me a little bit about the company that you're working with now, and kind of what do you guys do?
Yeah, absolutely. So I work for a company called Amari Global, and Amare in Latin means to love.
Mhm.
So it may sound really cliche. We are the mental wellness company, but our values are all about loving ourselves first, taking ourselves first, and then loving others. And we are truly loving people back to mental wellness. We're helping them find root cause solutions. We empower people to take responsibility for their wellness, and we are a collective of humanitarian entrepreneurs, trailblazers, pioneers. We are literally blazing a trail right now because we are disrupting healthcare. People are wanting holistic solutions. They don't want another prescription medication for their mental wellness. So we are all about helping people holistically. And we have a whole platform of holistic supplements for the gut brain access, and we have holistic programs, including mindfulness programs, meditation, educate people on how to eat properly to have a really good mental wellness diet. And, it's just a really exciting time to be at Amari Global because, as we know, mental health and wellness is a national conversation. We saw
Mhm.
what happened at the Olympics, and people really need what we have. And so it's just an exciting time to be part of this movement.
Exactly, yeah, definitely, definitely. So, me as a new person, let's say I come across your company, where would you recommend I start?
I always recommend people that I come into contact with to start with what's called our mental wellness assessment. In just 3 to 4 minutes, you'll be able to fill out an assessment online that will tell you where you fall in terms of your mental wellness. A zero, obviously, being really bad shape, and 10 meaning you very high functioning, doing really well with your mental wellness. Most people that I work with start at like a 4 or a 5, and it's pretty normal. And people are like, yeah, I'm tired. I have some anxiety. I'm stressed out. I'm burned out. And that's where we start with people, is having them take the mental wellness assessment.
Okay. All right. Now, so the next thing I want to do is, we talk about routines and habits a lot here. And the other thing
Yes.
we talk about are blessings and lessons. We don't want to say failures and successes, we say blessings and lessons. So, the first question I want to ask you is, what's one of the major lessons you've learned over this time in learning and studying about the gut brain axis?
Specifically around the gut brain axis, I really learned the importance of communicating with my doctor what I'm doing, because in the past, one time I decided to do something on my own without letting him know, and it did not turn out good for myself. So, one of the lessons I've learned is that, especially when I'm working with people that have doctors for mental health, is that I always say, be sure to check in with your doctor, let him know, he or she know what you're doing, and that has worked out really well for me. So, in fact, my to lower my medication by over 50% since starting this
Wow.
protocol. So, it's really important to not just go out and do something on your own. If you're being followed by a doctor, it's important to check in with them.
Okay. And have you noticed that the relationship with the doctor in doing this has been, better or has it changed any?
Yeah, at first he kind of looked at me like, okay, really? You're going to take some supplements that, but he actually starts sending me, he'll see articles online about how the microbiome or the gut affects and has an effect in depression. So he's been sending me articles. So he's slowly starting to see the importance of taking care of your gut.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Now for the blessing part. And this time, I don't want you to think about your company. I want to think about
Mhm.
Krista, the person. How has
Mhm.
switching to this new lifestyle blessed you? What's the blessing in
Oh my gosh. Okay.
it?
There's so many, right? But the
Mhm,
one that just sort of came to me is my son Jacob. He's 4.
mhm,
So 2 years ago, before I started this holistic approach, I was very checked out. I was very short with him. He was 2 years old, and he would just want to play, and I would just say, "Not right now. I'm too busy," or just really. It's sad to look back on actually because I look at the pictures of him when he was 2. I don't really remember,
mhm.
and I'm just very grateful that I started this holistic approach because I'm less stressed, I'm more present, I have more patience with him, and the list just goes on. Like, I'm just a better mom, and he deserves that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And you also found a lesson in your blessing. It sounds like because now you're able to cherish that time a lot more, and you understand having those bad days kind of built the mentality now where you're like, hey, I'm going to cherish the days I have with my family and my friends. So definitely the blessing was in the lesson. How about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
All right. So the next part I wanted to know, are there any, for me, quotes and motivational speaking? It was a big part of my life, and as far as transitioning from working in the corporate world to becoming an entrepreneur. Were there any quotes or motivational speakers or anything like that that you kind of kept handy to kind of get you over those hard days?
Yeah, actually, well, I really on my like kind of mental health advocacy journey and just sharing my story in the community and things like that. I really followed Rosa Parks. She was an advocate or activist, and I
Mm-hmm.
really loved what she said. When she said, "You must never be fearful about what you are doing when it is right," and that just really resonated with me because there were times on my mental health advocacy journey where like my mom wouldn't want me to speak out because she was stigmatized by what I was going through.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew that there were people in my community. I would speak at churches or hospitals. I knew there were people that needed to hear what I had to say about what I experienced.
Definitely, definitely. So now, the next one is what books would you recommend for someone who's just having a tough time? Life is hard at times. So in those moments, what
Absolutely.
books would you recommend to kind of help ease it a little bit? Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. So, one of the books that have really, actually starting to go through it again next week, but it's called The Magic by the author is Rhonda Burns, and she's the author that actually wrote The Secret. And the magic is all about gratitude. Gratitude is a very high vibe frequency. And when we are really, really grateful, like I'm not just saying, like, oh, I'm grateful for my family, I'm grateful for Jacob, but like really become deeply grateful for all of it, all of our
Mhm.
challenges, all of our unanswered prayers, all of the people that are difficult in our life, being grateful for them, it really is pretty profound. And so the thing that I loved about the book as well is that it's not really something you have to read cover to cover. You just read like one chapter each day and it has a different exercise that you do.
Oh,
So like
awesome.
there's one exercise that you do where you find like a rock from your backyard and it's called the gratitude rock. And
Mhm.
every night before you go to bed, you hold the rock and you reflect on the day on the three things that you're most grateful for. And I'm telling you, like, just these exercises, I'm going to go through it with a group of friends next week. We're going to do it together. That book profoundly changed my life because I started to be grateful for things that I was very taken for granted, like
Mhm.
having clean water to drink and having electricity and all of that, right? And it really changed my life reading that book.
Yeah, that's a good point. I was driving today, and here in Virginia there's mountains and trees everywhere and changing of the leaves, and I was driving through and I looked at the mountains and I was like, I pass this every day, and there are people all over the world that would love to be able to see this, and I get to see it every day. And I didn't stop to say, that I'm grateful or thankful to be in this area. So you're absolutely right. That's a great thing to pick up, especially this time of year with Thanksgiving being so close. To start
Yes.
to be grateful and show gratitude. Yeah, you're absolutely right. That's perfect. That's perfect. Thinking back to the journey you've had from where you started to where you are now, there's another Krista out there. I wanted you to be able to give her some words of encouragement on how she can get through this time and also get to where you are now. What words of encouragement could you offer Krista to get through the next few weeks, months, years? Mhm.
Yeah, so for that Chris that's out there, the first thing that comes to mind, especially if this Chris is also an entrepreneurial journey, is not to quit. Don't ever give up. Just keep going, keep going, keep going. And I would say, especially if that person is struggling with their mental health, there is so many options. There's so much. Like I know those dark places and you don't have to stay there. Those dark places are temporary. It's not permanent, it's temporary. It feels permanent when you're in it, but whatever struggles you're going through, it's going to pass and you're going to be on the other side teaching somebody how how to get through it.
Thank you, Krista. Thank you. So next, I want you to let the audience know where can they find you. How can they get in contact with you, and if you have any events going on, how can they support you?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm very active on LinkedIn. So you can just type in Krista Samimi and find me on LinkedIn. I do have a Facebook account, which is Krista R Samimi, and then my email is Krista at KristaSamimi.com. And in fact, events, I don't know when this is going to air, but we have an event tomorrow night called Activate Your Life with Amari, How to Create a Thriving Lifestyle. And it's only 30 minutes on Zoom. And I promise you, if you come, you will get something out of it. You'll be inspired. You will be able to feel the energy that's in this company. You'll be able to vision and our mission. And so if you want the link to that, it's amare.com/live. And just go there tomorrow at 5 o'clock Pacific time, 8 o'clock Eastern.
Okay, thanks, Krista. And also, I will be sure to add the link to this so that everybody can get to it and support Krista, guys. Let's let her know that
Awesome.
you're out here and you want to know more about the gut brain access.
Absolutely. Yeah. And if any of this piques your curiosity, reach out to me and I can tell you a little bit more about what it's like to be a wellness partner with Amari Global.
All right, thank you, Krista, and I thank you for your time and joining us here on Ridiculously Blessed. We look forward to seeing what's coming next, and we're going to finish you with this. Okay. In the next 5 years, where will we see Krista Samimi in the next 5 years?
Wow, where will you see me? Well, maybe one of you will be coached by me. I'm working on my certification to be a mental wellness coach. So that will be taking place well before the 5 years. Um, gosh, I will have a very large team by then. We're small now. Amari Global, our CEO has already told us that we will be the next Amazon when it comes to mental wellness. So we are going to be big. So that means if you're interested in joining us, now is the time to do it to grow a $1 billion company. So
All
hopefully
right.
just changing more lives every day.
All right. Thank you, Krista. We look forward to seeing it. And I will play this video again so people will know we knew first that Krista was going to be worldwide and the company was going to be amazing. Krista, again, I thank you. Thank you for your time and your energy and your effort. We'll continue to look out for you and try to support in any way we can. Thank you, Krista.
Thank you so much, Tim.